All right, so when you open up Revit, you should see a screen something like this. This is the home base screen. You'll see your recent files here, and you'll see some recent families that you've worked on. On the left side, you'll see open, new for models, and then open and new for families. You also see your recent files in BIM 360. So by default, I believe that recent files opens first. We want to do the BIM 360 portal here. And at the top, we want to make sure that we are on the correct project. So I'll go find the tutorial project that we were talking about here. Go navigate to your project file. So that's tutorial project, project files, Erdman, and then under architecture, and then it's under training, summer training, and then you go and find your name. So this is what I have open currently. When you get your project open, you'll notice that it opens up on the open and close view. Once you're there, we are free to continue to the next step. All right, the first thing I want to show with Revit is getting your Revit bearings. There's a lot of things inside of Revit that you need to be aware of. Some of the most common ones is what I'm going to run you through right now. We have our properties tab here, and then we have our project browser over here. This is the architectural tab, structural tab, precast, insert, so on and so forth. These are all of the tools that we can use within Revit, and there's a ton of them. The more you use them, the better you are going to get with them. And really, that is about as much advice as I can give you, unfortunately, for that. This project that we're creating is going to be for the purposes of getting you familiar with Revit. We want to learn the ins and outs of Revit, how to operate not only cleanly, but also effectively and efficiently. We want to make clean models, and we want to make them fast. The way we do that is by creating efficiencies as we go, and I'll get more into that in just a second. So as I was talking about this properties tab here, this is about where you'll find properties for elements. This is model elements. I mean, really anything. If I click on this open and close view, it'll tell me what it is at the top. So this is a title block. Title block is named ANOG open close view. I can also drop down and change this open close view. And this works for model elements like families, walls, windows, doors, etc. It works for everything. So this is whenever you click on something, you'll have to view the properties to make changes to them, or actually just to see what it is. This is like something that they'll change, like the widths, the dimensions, the parameters such as materials, or just simple properties about casework and things like that. So properties tab is something that you'll use so many times throughout the day. It'll be second nature by the time you're finished with this training. The next thing I want to talk about is the project browser on the left side here. Sometimes this becomes undocked, and a lot of these things are undocked. Your workspace is customizable in Revit. This becomes undocked. What I mean by that is now it's like floating around. A lot of people within our company, they will operate with this off screen on another screen. I don't do that. It's all preference and things like that. I can operate with this side by side, as you can just see that it popped up here. And all I'm doing is clicking on this top bar here, and then you can slide it around and move it wherever you need it to. I like mine docked half and half, so that way I get a full view of it. So to do that, it's just move that tab to the bottom portion of it. You'll notice that it does the half screen at the bottom here. And now this is docked. I can also shrink this, make it smaller, that sort of thing. Without getting into too much detail on that, let's go into a little bit of discipline tabs. Oops. So we are going to be working in architectural mostly. However, there are structural tabs. We have some precasts, insert, annotate, massing and site. This is where you're going to find all of your tools. Some of them are very important. You'll use them all the time, and some of them are going to be used less frequently. So you'll know as you'll go on with this training which ones you're going to be using more often and which ones that you won't be needing that much. So this is another tab that I also want to talk about quickly is the Modify tab. The Modify tab is where you can modify anything within Revit. This is what you're probably going to be using the most frequently. This is things like your annotations, your tools such as move tools, copy, rotate, and things like that. We'll get into those tools in just a second. You also notice that I have some tabs that you might not have. I have BIM interoperability tools, CTC software, BIM 1, PyRevit, and Joules. These are called add-ins. So Revit has an open library. People and companies can design programs that run within Revit that do certain things. So for instance, this PyRevit tool is a really cool one. It has a bunch of neat features inside of it that we can do, but this is not native to Revit. This is something that you'll have to download and add to your Revit program. All right, so next step that I want to talk to you about is hotkey customization, and this will be the last part of part 1. For hotkey customization, this is going to be the efficiency part of things. Whenever we are creating stuff, we don't want to have to go back up to the Modify tab and hit Move or hit Copy or hit Rotate. These things are manual. They take forever. Whenever you put them into the scheme of things, if you add 10 seconds to each command, you're going to be adding hours to the end of your day and the end of your week. So hotkey customization allows you to basically type in 2 letters or 1 letter. Actually, I think it's actually 2 letters. I don't think you can do 1 letter to customize all of these commands as you go. So everybody, for the most part, will be pretty close to the same command tools. Some of them come by default and some of them are customizable. And you'll notice what I'm talking about here. When I hover over the Move tab, it says Move in bold and then MV in parentheses. That NV in parentheses is the hotkey. So if I type in MV, you'll notice that my command changes. The cursor has that move arrow next to it. In the bottom left, it is asking you to do things like click to select, tab for alternatives. This is one of the areas that you want to pay attention to in Revit as you're getting used to the interface. Whenever you type in a command, this will tell you what to do next. This is essentially your command bar. But that MV, I just typed it in on my keyboard, opened up this automatically. I can also switch this, so I know that rotate is RO, now that I switched to that tool. Now to customize those, some of these aren't assigned automatically, and some of these have some weird hotkeys. For instance, scale is RE. I think that means like resize, but they should have just named the tool resize and not scale, in my opinion. I digress. If you want to change that scale from RE to SC, we'll go into the File Options. Under User Interface, there are keyboard shortcuts here. And there are a bunch of other settings in here you can play around with to make your quality of life inside of Revit better. You're going to be working in Revit a lot in the architectural profession, so become familiar with these settings and make adjustments where you see fit. All right, so I want to go find that scale one and try to change that. So scale shortcut right now is RE. All I have to do is type it into the top. You can also use these filters if I can't find it. So RE, I can remove this just by selecting the shortcut here. I can remove that shortcut and then change it. I'm already pretty used to using RE, so I'm not going to change it. But say, for instance, I wanted to add SC as one of the shortcuts. You can also add multiple shortcuts to this. So for scale, I can use RE or SC. If I type in SC here and hit assign. So a shortcut SC is already currently assigned to command centers. If we want to duplicate that, we can. However, it might get confusing whenever you're doing the operations. I've ran into an issue before where I believe it was with lines that I typed in the command and it wouldn't work, and I was wondering why. Well, it was because I had duplicates. It was pulling up multiple tabs, and I wasn't able to do that. So while you can have duplicates, I do not recommend it. Try to find something unique to it. Maybe for scale you do SS. See, this one's actually assigned to, so you'll have to play with it a little bit. And you can also sort by shortcuts here. Excuse my word stumbling today. Sort by shortcuts, you can see what you have, what's assigned to, what shortcut is assigned. We can also do things like Control+. But this is all I really wanted to explain to you about about using these keyboard shortcuts. As you're working through this stuff and you find yourself using, I don't know, some things like the temporary hide isolate command does not have one by default. You'll have to assign it. I use that tool all the time just to temporarily hide something, and then I want to reset it so that it's not hidden anymore. All I have to do is hit that button again. Alright, so that is all there is for the first portion of it. Next I'm going to run you through some tools that we'll be using. We'll run through datum levels, walls, floors and roofs, and then introduction to families. And then the last step will be the links of this program. So this one might be one of the longer ones, but this is how we're going to be getting our Revit bearing. So please bear with me. All right, so I'm going to run through these tools. I'm going to pull this on my other screen so I can watch this as I'm going.